In this video, I'm going to show you how to find and calculate the break-even price for any item that you sell on eBay. Then I'm going to answer all your questions from the week about eBay and Amazon dropshipping. So make sure that you stick around. If you are here live, ask questions in the live chat. If you're watching this later, ask questions in the comments section of any of my videos. I will answer them next week at 8 p.m. Eastern. Right here on my YouTube channel, I do a live Q&A every single Tuesday night at 8 p.m. If you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you get an alert as soon as I go live. So let me show you the inside of my computer here. So I can show you what we have to do to find the break-even point for any item that you are selling on eBay. So let me get rid of this. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Well, when you sell an item on eBay, there is going to be some point that you're not going to make any money at, and you obviously don't want to be at that point. That's called the break-even point or the break-even price, and you want a profit on top of that. So I'm right now inside of DSM Tool, which is the lister and repricing software that I use for my eBay dropshipping store. And here it says we can put in a break-even percentage. And then here's where you can put in the profit. So I get a lot of questions from people asking me, what should I put in for this break-even percentage? Well, I'm going to show you a fail-proof way to figure out exactly what that price should be. So here I am on a website called salecalc.com, salecalc.com. And this is really great. This is how it works. So up here where it says format, you could just put, for most drop shippers, you're going to put fixed price. I put no insertion fee, even though I do pay an insertion fee every month for each of my items or for most of my items. You're not going to pay an insertion fee for a lot of them based on what kind of store subscription you have. And in addition, you only have to pay one insertion fee for each item, no matter how many times that you sell it. The category, I always leave all other categories. And the store, this is where you're going to select the store subscription that you have. So if you have no store subscription, write none. This needs a little updating because there's now additional stores that you can choose from. But let's just stick with none for now, assuming that you're brand new at eBay dropshipping and you haven't subscribed to an eBay store yet. Now down here is where it's going to show you the cost to acquire. Right here, this is how much money it costs you to buy the item from your source's website. So to keep this really simple, let's put in $100. Let's assume that after you pay for the item, and that includes shipping, and that includes taxes if you're not tax exempt, let's say it's $100, or maybe it's $100 and you are tax exempt, and this is the final price. Whatever it is, this is where you're going to put the final price that's going to cost you. Now, where it says the buy it now price, just put in any number. I'm just going to put in 110 for now, because what it's going to do is pop up right here where it says to break even, you should have a selling price of 115.16. So if I want to break even on the sale, I have to sell it for $115.16. See the way that works? So this is an interesting test. If we now change the store subscription from none to basic, we're going to see that that price drops to $113.85. And that's because when you upgrade to a store subscription plan, your final value fee is going to be less. It's no longer 10%, it's 9.15%. So as we see in the basic store, the, where does it show it? Oh, the fee breakdown right here. It shows us that there's an $11 final value fee. That's for eBay. And then PayPal is going to take $3.49. If we switch it to a basic plan, that amount is less on eBay. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the benefit is of upgrading to a store and what the breakdown is for each of them. So based on this, we can see that if you have a basic store, your break-even point is about 13.85%. Without a store, it's about 15.16%, just to give you an idea of how that works. Let me go ahead and put my face back on screen. And let's see who's here in the live chat. so we can see what kind of questions you guys have this week all about eBay and Amazon dropshipping. So let's see what we have here. Okay, we had a great question this week. Let me pull up the question I had from Carolyn. Carolyn asked, what company do I use for my VPN? And the company that I use for my VPN is called CyberGhost 5. It's been a great company. I haven't had any problems with them. So I highly recommend CyberGhost 5. I think it was like $50 for the whole year. And there's only certain number of licenses that you can use. So I use one. I use it when I travel. And I gave a couple others to my virtual assistants. Not every virtual assistant of mine needs one, but that is the one that I use. So let's see. Sea Monkeys is back here. Welcome, Sea Monkeys 321. Glenn is here. Hi, Glenn. Mike is here. Dave Locke is here as normal. Welcome, Dave. Great to see you again. Let's see who was the first comment tonight. First comment is Nancy Ross. Welcome, Nancy. Always has great questions. She had great questions last week. So welcome, Nancy. But she's actually going to bed right now. She's going on vacation tomorrow. Good for you, Nancy. That's great. Okay. Al says, hello, Paul. Good evening. Al's back. Jay Goldie is back. Welcome back, everyone. And anyone who's new, welcome. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And Jim asked a question. Jim Smith says, Paul, have you tried Hustle Got Real Lister? I have not tried Hustle Got Real. I have had a few people that have used them that I know. They've liked it. I can't give a recommendation one way or the other because I haven't tried that software. Hustle Got Real is another repricing software like DSM Tool is. And there's so many out there. Another pretty popular one these days is Dropship Beast. Again, it's not one that I've ever tried, but I have heard good things from some of my students about it. Fatima is asking, what is the best software for dropshipping? Along those same lines, I do use DSM Tool. It is the one that I like the best of the ones that I've tried, just because it has so many features packed into it, and you get to use it up to the first 50 listings for free, which I think is really great for beginners to figure out how it works without that pressure of having to pay them every month for the service without actually knowing how it works yet, because you're getting used to it, right? In the beginning, that's one of the reasons I really love DSM Tool. Okay. Daryl says, hi from Australia, chasing a kangaroo around my backyard. That's pretty awesome. We have squirrels and raccoons here. Okay, so I had some other questions from the week. Richard says, how many times in a day can you use a cashback website? So what Richard is speaking about here is I use cashback websites for all my purchases. I just go to a website, like the one I like is called givingassistant.com. And I do have an affiliate link to that in the description of this video. Go to that website, and through that website, I then go to like Amazon.com and Walmart.com and then make my purchase as normal on those websites. But by going through that special link, I get 1, 2, 3, 4% back on the purchase. Richard, you can use that as many times as you want. There's really no limit to it. I use mine many times in the day. I have my virtual assistants always use them for all the orders. And you might want to keep track of them as you go through the ordering, because they don't always catch them. They do the best they can, but there's always these little glitches or reasons why the Giving Assistant or any of the cashback websites won't catch all the orders. So if you really want to be diligent about it, keep track of them. And then after a few days, if those orders aren't showing up on your Giving Assistant history, you're going to want to contact Giving Assistant, let them know that there's missing cash back, and give them the order number. And they're very good about crediting your account for that missing cash back. And Hip Hop is, let's see what Hip Hop is talking. Hip Hop is talking to Fred. Okay, Fred has a great question, and I'm going to answer for you, Fred. Fred says, this sounds like total BS to me. I don't believe you can keep track of every store's pricing, inventory, shipping, prices, etc. None of those variables are in your control. Fred, you're absolutely right. But that's the beauty of the software that I showed in the beginning of this video, DSM tool. I didn't really go into it in depth in the beginning, but I do have other videos about it, a DSM tool, or like the other ones I mentioned, Hustle Got Real or Dropship Beast. They keep track of that for you. If the price increases on Amazon.com or on Walmart.com, these softwares will automatically upload the price or update the price on eBay.com for us. It saves us so much time. It allows us to list thousands or really an infinite number of items without having to worry about price changes or inventory changes, because they'll also change the stock if the item goes out of stock on the source's website. All of that is taken care of by these software. So that's the way that we do it. And let's see, John says, I had a customer buy an item from Walmart, message 5 days later after receiving it, and ask, how do I ship it from Walmart? What should I tell him? I'm guessing he's looking at the labels on the box. So in other words, John's customer got the item and then kind of asking why the item came from Walmart. Well, there's a couple of different excuses that you can give, depending on how truthful you want to be. And I always go for the half-truth, still very truthful answer. The first one I always say is, thanks so much for your question and for your order. I know this could be confusing. We use third-party vendors to fulfill our orders for us as a vendor fulfillment service. And that's just like a bunch of like garbled words up in there, kind of confusing. And it kind of, I think people don't know exactly what I'm saying when I say that. So it kind of shuts them up. It sounds like a good answer. And I think a lot of people just assume that it's my items, but Walmart's shipping it out for me, which isn't true or false, I guess, really depending on the way that you look at it. So that's what I say. I feel comfortable saying that. I don't feel like it's a lie. And so that if it does come back for whatever reason, they start complaining more about it, I don't feel like I told them a mistruth in that with that statement. Okay. So things I have found, great name for a eBay store or a YouTube channel about eBay. That you asked a question saying, when searching for a product, so when doing product research to pick items to list on your eBay store, how long does it take you in time or number of listings you look at before finding a product that is profitable? So I don't actually do any of my research anymore. My virtual assistants do it. I have a virtual assistant that works 4 hours a day on listing, and she gets about 20 to 25 products up in a day. And she could do much more than that, but I'm really strict with what I want her to list, the exact criteria that I have for her in terms of what items they are and how well they're selling on eBay. So she just lists those 25 items. She doesn't worry about how many other people are selling them, just whether the item is being sold by anybody. And that's really all she looks at. So she can do about 25 in about 3 hours or so. And how many hours is she listing now? Can't remember if it's 3 or 4 hours that have her listing. I gotta go check that. But she usually does about 25 items a day. So Chloe says, hi, Paul, Brandy from, I don't know if you're Chloe or Brandy. So Chloe or Brandy says, is from Florida and has a question. Have you ever used Harbor Freight for drop shipping? I haven't used Harbor Freight. I see other people drop shipping from Harbor Freight doing really well with it. So this is one of the great things. There's always new sources to try. So try out Harbor Freight, see if it works for you. You might tap into a source that not a lot of other people are using, and that's very low competition. Okay. Fred, I already answered that question. What happened to you and your pattern reset working? William, I'm not sure what William Steele, what question you're asking there. John saying, can you transfer DSM items to another store or account. So you would have to open up a second DSM account in order to do that. And then there is a way to export out of DSM tool and then import into a new one. So that's the way you would have to do it. Okay. So Ed says, what subscription should I get from DSM tool as a beginner? Just get the free one, Ed. That's the best one to do. You get up to 50 listings for free. Try it out, see how the platform works, what you need to do in order to be a successful seller on eBay as a dropshipper. And then once you start to make some money, you can upgrade to one of the paid plans. And I think the cheapest paid plan is $10 a month, which I think gets you 100 listings. Okay. Okay, so I had another question from the earlier this week. TX Silent Night left a comment saying that he was trying to access my free webinar, which I have a link to in the description of this video, and said it wasn't working, but that should be updated now, so I'm sorry about that. There's been some talk this week about one of those repricing softwares I talked about, Profit Scraper, has essentially stated that they're closing their doors. Justin and Zeno both alerted me about this. I didn't quite know about this because I don't use Profit Scraper and I don't actually know anyone who does. So this is another software like DSM tool. Apparently they're closing their doors. And the reason for that, as stated by them, is that Amazon has changed something with their API, I think it was, which is basically the way that Profit Scraper gets the information from Amazon in regards to the price and stock of the items from Amazon. I spoke to a buddy of mine, Mark, over at No BS Dropshipping. He does a lot with software, so he understands this stuff really well. And he was saying that the way that Profit Scraper was connecting up with Amazon is not the way that most software companies do, like his software, DS Genie, or other softwares like DSM Tool. They use a completely different way of doing it. I'm not going to even try to explain it any better than that because this is outside my realm of expertise. But basically, they use a different system. So while Profit Scraper will no longer work, the other companies are still going to work because they're using a different way of pulling that data from Amazon.com. Okay. So Emmanuel asked a great question. He said, Paul, I listed an item for $100. The item sold at $120. And then when I went to place the order the next day, the price on Home Depot, the sale was over. The price is no longer $100, but it's now $130. What should I do in that case? Well, Emmanuel, there's a couple of different things that you can try to do. One thing that sometimes works, although it doesn't really work too well anymore, is you can contact Home Depot and say, through their chat, which they have directly on their website, just say, oh no, I was looking at this item yesterday, it was $100, now it's $130. Can you honor that price for me? Will you sell it to me at $100? That used to kind of work. It doesn't work really anymore, but it's worth a try. I haven't really tried it in a while. So try that out. Say that it's like a price match and maybe they'll do it for you, but maybe not. If that doesn't work, then you have a choice here. Do you want to eat the $30 so you can have a good customer experience with this buyer? Or do you want to tell the buyer that, I'm sorry, but this item was actually listed up in error, it's out of stock, and do you want to cancel the order, or do you want to wait till it comes back in stock and just hope that the item comes down in price later? That choice is up to you, how you want to handle that. You might also want to reach out to the buyer and kind of get an idea of what kind of person they are. If they're going to be angry when you tell them this, then you might want to back down and just buy the item anyway. So these are the different choices. Another great option is to look at another website. See if it's available on Amazon.com for a cheaper price. See if it's available even on Lowe's, although they're not my favorite you can use them as a backup source, or Harbor Freight or any of these other websites. Just see if they have it at a cheaper price, and then you could fulfill the order and everyone's happy in that situation. So Al's asked me how my sales have been on eBay lately. So in April, around April 20th, I saw a drop in sales. They've since gone almost all the way back up to where they were before. They're not quite there, but then again, this is a slow time of year historically for most people. The start of summer, people aren't really buying too much right now, but I expect that once people start to realize that they want grills and patio furniture and all that kind of things, they will start shopping more online for those types of outdoor items, summer items. So sales are better, not completely better. And I did make a video explaining exactly what I did to fix my sales. And it's called How I Fixed My Slow eBay Sales. I think it was the name of the video. Okay. So William Steele asks, can I dropship on Amazon, and which listing software can I use? So William, there are a lot of people who are dropshipping onto Amazon the exact way that we dropship onto eBay. The thing is, it's against Amazon's terms of service. So that doesn't mean it's illegal. You're not going to get arrested for it, but it does violate their terms of service, which means that if they find out that you're doing it, they can and they might kick you off the platform for doing it. Now, like I said, I know people who are doing it. I know people who are doing it really well. And the real key here is that they provide really good customer service, and Amazon is going to kick you off. They're going to, rather, I'll say, they'll turn a blind eye if you're providing that good customer service. Now, with that said, Amazon is a completely different beast than eBay. So it's not something that I suggest you just jump into without doing a lot of research on it, because they're completely different platforms. Amazon is much more strict about things. It's much easier to get kicked off Amazon, to get your account suspended. So you really want to know what you're doing. And it does require upfront capital. You do have to have money saved up in order to really be successful in Amazon. And if you want to learn more about that, I will be making some videos about Amazon dropshipping. So if you don't want to miss those, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay. Okay. Let's see, another question here. So Lynn watched that video that I mentioned to you guys about how to fix my slow eBay sales. And she said, who knew this works? I was like 2 sales a week, and now I'm 4 to 6 sales a day. Sweet. So Lynn, super happy that that has helped you. And I suggest anyone who's been having slow sales to check out that video once this video is over. So Capito Tube says, hi, Paul. Do you have any updates about the Home Depot cashback? So what Capito is speaking about is, I think it was 2 months ago now, I've been using Giving Assistant, like I mentioned before, for my cashback every time I do my shopping on HomeDepot.com. And about 2 months ago, I woke up and saw that Home Depot had revoked a large amount of my cashback, and we had no idea what was going on. There's lots of speculation flying around. And what we basically learned was, after the dust settled, was that Home Depot had a glitch on their system, and the cashback should never have been revoked. So that cashback has been returned to me now. It happened just a few days ago, last week, and it's all back in my system now. Everything seems to be processing fine. I just got a payout for some of that cashback. So everything is rolling ahead great, and it seems like it's not going to be a problem going into the future. So Ray S says, what other software do you use besides DSM Tool? And Ray, all the software that I use is linked up in the description of this video. Every link in there, you should assume, is an affiliate link, which means like I'm just going to get a small commission if you use it. It is no extra cost to you to use it though, and I only recommend it if I absolutely love the software. So in addition to DSM Tool, another great one I love is called TrackerBot. TrackerBot will automatically upload tracking numbers from Gmail onto eBay. So anytime you get a email from, let's say, Walmart saying, oh, your order is shipped, here's a tracking number, TrackerBot's going to pull that tracking number from the Gmail, send it to eBay, and automatically upload it. It's completely automated. So that's another great one that I use. I use DSM tool. I also use one with my virtual assistants to help answer customer questions. It's called Reply Manager. I don't think I have that linked up because I don't really think it's necessary for most people in the beginning, especially because DSM tool has a built-in messaging system that you can use instead. I just like Reply Manager because it shows which of the agents, which is myself or one of my 2 virtual assistants who handles customer service, which one of us answer the customer question. So that helps keep things organized. And that's the reason I pay extra for that software every month. I missed a part of the prior question about Amazon dropshipping and what software you can use to dropship onto Amazon. And probably the one that I know of best is SKUGrid. SKUGrid, a lot of people also use to dropship onto eBay, but you can use it for dropshipping onto Amazon. Is it my favorite software? No, but it definitely works. It gets the job done. And I hear rumors that there's a better software coming out to dropship onto Amazon. So I'm crossing my fingers for that and really hoping that that is an awesome software. And I'll definitely tell you guys about it as soon as I hear more about it. Okay. Shual is here, always giving us the like count, reminding us that even though there's 146 people in here, only 36 people have given the video a thumbs up. So if you are enjoying this content, if I answered a question or a question that you had floating around your mind, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Let's move on to another question. Rat Pack says, who is Logic? I'm not sure where that question came from, but Rat Pack, Logic is a rapper. And I've been told in the past year, 3 or 4 completely separate people said that I kind of look like Logic. I think they mostly say it though when I'm wearing a hat and these glasses, and I can kind of see the resemblance. What do you think matters? Andre says, I know that both are important, but what do you think matters most in getting a sale? Is it the price or the title? And I think you're right. I think both matter, and I don't really see the reason to pick one over the other simply because you can do both. You can put a good price for the item and pick a title that is original, that is going to hit all those keywords that potential buyers are searching for. Okay. See another question I had from the week. Frank asked a great question. Frank said, what kind of follow-up do you do once an item has been shipped out? So in other words, the item is bought on eBay. I place the order, or my VA places the order on the supplier's website, and then the item is shipped out by the supplier towards the customer. At that point, and the tracking number is uploaded, what do I do after that? And basically, I do nothing. I do have TrackerBot set up to automatically send a message to the customer as soon as the item is sent out. And that message just basically says, thank you for your order. If you need to return the item, please contact us first instead of opening up a return case. If there's any problems with your order, please contact us before leaving negative feedback. And we promise to do everything we can to make it right. And then that's basically it. So that's the only follow-up that I do after the fact. Frank was asking this question because Frank was wondering, well, sometimes the items get lost in transit, or they're not delivered for whatever reason, or maybe delivered to an access point, which is when like UPS drops it off at a location because they couldn't get it to the person's address. And then the buyer has to go pick it up from that access point. So Frank's kind of wondering, do you follow up on that? Shouldn't we be responsible? And we technically are responsible to get the item all the way to the customer's door and deliver there. But it's just impossible to keep up with all of those tracking numbers and all those shipments. So I just let them be and wait for the customer to say something to me. And if you think about it, that's just the way it works with e-commerce. If I buy something for myself on Amazon, it's not delivered. Amazon doesn't let me know that there is, well, actually they do let me know if there's a delay. But usually for most websites, it's my responsibility to call the store that I ordered it from and say, hey, where's my package? And then they look into it and say, oh, you're right, it hasn't been delivered. Amazon's a little special because they actually track all that and will email you, as you guys probably know, if the item is delayed for any reason. Okay. Kang says, my sales went up too after following Paul's advice. Thanks. Awesome. Okay. John F says, can I sell / dropship on my website for more profit, or is it illegal to sell other people's products? But John, you can do that. It's not illegal to do that. So what John's asking is instead of drop shipping on eBay, can he open up his own website, like a Shopify website, and sell the items on there instead? And John, you absolutely can do that. The problem with that is that you then have to drive traffic to that website. You have to get customers or potential customers to get there and then make the purchase directly from you. So yes, your profit will be higher, but there's going to be a cut into it because you have to pay for advertising to get people there. So it might just work out to be the same. Maria is cheating the system. Maria says, I'm giving you 2 thumbs up, one from my cell phone and one from my laptop. Thanks, Maria. Okay. So Sam says, bulk or optimization drop shipping. I don't think bulk is a great method for drop shipping. I believe that's a way to just incur a lot of fees through insertion fees, for instance, or even if you have one of the more expensive store subscription plans to cover all the fees, that's still pretty pricey. And I think that optimization, in my experience, optimization of the titles really helps conversions on eBay. Christopher Wintermute, one of my students. So welcome, Christopher. Christopher says, when running a promotion, can I bulk adjust the price by 1% to counteract the promo ads like you said previously? So what Chris is asking is, if he runs a promoted listing campaign, let's say he runs the campaign at 1%. So what that means is that if someone clicks on that promoted listing, which is basically a paid advertisement on eBay, and they buy the item, in addition to the regular fees that eBay charges, they're also going to charge another 1% because it's at a 1% rate for the campaign. So to counteract that, can he raise his price by 1%? And yes, that's what I'm doing, and that's what's been successful for me. Alicia asks a great question. Sorry I missed it before, Alicia. Alicia asked, Paul, will you be changing where you ship from per eBay's new rules? So this is a little bit confusing. I've mentioned this a couple times. Sorry, guys. So eBay has gone back and forth on this issue of what we are required to put down as the item location. So in the past, it wasn't anything that eBay strictly looked at. So people were putting their home zip codes, or they were putting the zip code that items from their source commonly ship out to or from, or they're just putting something like United States of America or multiple locations. And that's the most accurate because with our sources, they have warehouses all across the United States. So it's not accurate to use just one zip code when it's shipping from all these multiple different zip codes. So eBay, their rules technically stated that we had to have accurate information about where the item was shipping out from. So we couldn't do things that were misleading. And the examples that they gave was to say something like Moscow, New York, because that could be confusing because that's another country in this country of the United States, stuff like that. So nothing misleading. And also it had to be clear. So they gave the example that you can't write something like somewhere in Florida. That's not very clear as to where the item is coming from. So interpreting that, I thought that we had to put an exact zip code. So I was using an exact zip code. Now, the other reason I started doing that was because some drop shippers were saying that their listings were being taken down because they didn't have an exact zip code. So that's the reason I changed it to a real zip code. But since then, eBay came out with a seller update for the summer. And in it, they stated you need to have an exact zip code unless you have multiple warehouses, in which case you're allowed to put multiple locations. So now they've kind of gone back on that, and they're looks like they're giving some leeway to there. So right now I haven't changed it because my sales have been fine without me making that change. And I kind of want to give it a couple more weeks because I just made some big changes to my account, which I explained in that past video called How I Fixed My Slow eBay Sales. I want to ride that out for a little bit before I make another change. Therefore, I have some concrete data as to what changes exactly have greatly impacted my store the most. So I will be changing it. I don't know if it's going to be permanent or not, but I will let you guys know the results of that test. Okay. So Muxik, I'm not sure how to say your name, Muxikton says, what do I need to do when I need to return a product that I drop shipped through eBay? So this is very easy to do. Let's say you bought the item from Walmart and shipped it to your customer, and now the customer wants to return the item. This is so easy to do. All you do is you go to walmart.com and you request to return the item. And what they're going to do is they're going to send you a prepaid return mailing label. You download that onto your computer, you upload it to the eBay message that you have with the customer, send it to the customer. Now they have a return label that they can use. They ship it back to Walmart. Once you are refunded by Walmart, you can then refund the customer at no cost to you. I love this one. C Monkey says, organize, deputize, and supervise. This is exactly what you teach. Organize your eBay business, deputize your virtual assistants, supervise your VAs. Love it. I love that so much. So Sam says, after I do the research of finding profitable items to sell on eBay, and by the way, guys, if you want to learn how I do that research, I do have that free webinar. That is one of the links in the description. Let's see, it is the second link in the description to this video. That shows you exactly how I do my product research. So Sam asked, after I do that product research, do I just upload the item or do I optimize the title and then, do I just upload it and then optimize the title later, or do I optimize the title and then upload it? So my VAs are trained to find the items, fix the title to make them better, and then to upload the items. I really think that's the better way of doing it because it helps you stand out from your competition. It helps you hit keywords that your competition didn't think to go for. And that's one of the ways that I think I've been so successful doing the drop shipping onto eBay. Linda's asking if I've ever used EasySync. No, I haven't used that. That is another repricing software that I haven't used. And Andrew is just explaining further, Andrew Witt, about how confused even eBay representatives are about this issue about the zip codes. He said that he called eBay and the rep told him he had to have a zip code even if he is shipping from multiple locations or suppliers. So not even eBay knows their own rules. So Denise says, on DSM tool, it is defaulting to good till canceled. Do you know how to change this to 30 days? So in other words, this item Denise has, she doesn't want it listed as good till cancel, which means that it'll just keep relisting every 30 days. She only wants it to be listed for 30 days. To be honest, I don't know how to do that, only because I've never changed it. I've always done good till canceled. You might have to do it inside one of your business policies, maybe. I don't want to detract from answering questions, so look at that right now. But if anyone else knows the answer to that and could help Denise out, that'd be great. And now, of course, read it out loud. So let me look real quick, though, as I'm answering another question. Chewbacca is back in the house. Okay. Let's see what other questions we got here. So Gabe says, do I have any experience with return fraud? If so, how do you handle that? So Gabe, I'm sure that there have been some buyers of mine who have, listed or returned items that weren't the actual item that they bought, but I have no way of checking in on that because they're not shipped back to me, the return. So I have no way of knowing it. And my sources always just refund me. So if the fraud happens, I have no way of knowing about it, but it hasn't been an issue for me because the sources just refund me and they haven't said anything about it. I'm just in the back end of DSM tool. I don't really see how to change to 30 days, but I think you might have to do in your business policies. Okay. So let's see what else we got. Okay, Connie says, I have found that the reps on eBay know the least about what's going on. And I totally agree with you on that one. It's different no matter who you speak to. Okay, Phil says, Phil Clark, thanks for answering this question for us. DSM Help says you can only do good till canceled. And that makes sense to me because that is the way every dropshipper I know does it. And if you think about it, this really makes sense because you don't want an item just to end for no reason. You want to choose to end the item. Good till cancel would just have the item keep relisting. If the item sold, then potential buyers are going to see that, oh, this item sold 5 times or 6 times or 7 times. You want that social proof when potential buyers see that product. It makes it more likely that they will buy it from you. Carrie Waddy has a great question. Do I use my Amazon Prime account with my tax-exempt status on Amazon? Yes, absolutely. So 2 separate things. Have my Amazon Prime account. I'm sure most of you guys know what Amazon Prime is. It's just a paid subscription service. It was $100 a year. I think it's like $100. It went up a little bit. So it's a little more than $100 a year. And that gives me free shipping on most orders and some other things like Amazon Prime TV and Amazon Music and some other stuff. And then I have tax exemption on Amazon, which means that I don't pay sales tax for most items that I buy from Amazon and ship to my customers. So that saves me a lot of money. It also saves me money because I have the Amazon Prime Rewards credit card, which gives me 5% off all my orders. So I'm getting, bless you. So I'm getting 5% off all my orders using the Prime credit card. I'm getting free shipping, and I am tax exempt for most of the purchases. Okay. And Kenneth is asking about my course, dropshippingtitans.com. Kenneth says, if changes happen on eBay, will I be updating the course appropriately? And yeah, I will be doing that. As I learn new things about eBay, as eBay changes, I will be updating the course to reflect all that. Okay, Ashley asked a great question. So, and I kind of addressed this in the last video last week about eBay's new return policy, saying that all returns are kind of going to be automated from now on or starting later this year. And Ashley's worried that these items are just going to be shipped back to our houses instead of to the suppliers. So how that exactly works, we're going to have to see moving forward. I do have some plans in place to prevent returns from coming back to my house. One way I'm going to do this is, as I mentioned before, that automated message should from TrackerBot, which is going to tell the customer, hey, if there's any problem with this order, don't open a return case. Message me first for a free prepaid return label. I'm hoping that prevents returns. In addition, I do have it set up so the returns will not be automatic. The returns instead, I will have to give what's called an RMA or RMA number, return merchant authorization number. And that kind of delays things long enough for me to contact the buyer and tell them, hey, instead of buying a label from eBay or printing one from eBay, here is a free one for you to use. If you don't use this one, the item is not going to come back to the correct location and you won't get refunded. So make sure to use this label. Once they acknowledge that they received that label and they're using it, then I'm going to approve the return on eBay by giving a fake RMA number. That I'm hoping will be more than enough to prevent boxes from coming back to my house. Okay. So Mag says, what desired profit percentage do you typically use in DSM tool? It really depends on the source. I know in one part of my course, I mentioned 30%, but that was really just an example to show you how a DSM tool works, kind of just a starting point. Later on in my course, I have a whole module called Competitive Pricing Strategy. That's the module you should look at for how to properly list your items at the correct price. So Mag, check out that video again, and that'll explain to you exactly how I've done it in the past and how I'm still doing it now. So Andre says, do you have all sales tax exempt on Amazon? So am I tax exempt on all states on Amazon? And no, I'm not. There's a handful of states that I'm not tax exempt in, and there's some reasons for that. Some of the states will not accept what's called an out-of-state resale certificate. So states like Florida and California, if you don't have a resale certificate from those states, you can't really get tax exempt for purchases shipped there. In addition, other states like Maine do not accept what is called a blanket resale certificate, which means that if you want your purchase that's shipping to Maine to be tax exempt, then every time you purchase the item, you have to give to Amazon a new resale certificate. That's just too much work. I don't even think Amazon lets you do that. So Frank says, did PayPal ever hold your money after PayPal jail was over? I'm above standard, no defects, no negative feedback, and all of a sudden PayPal started holding my money again. So Frank, this is a great question. And what Frank's talking about PayPal jail is in the first 3 months that you sell on PayPal or sell on eBay, PayPal is going to put you into a probation period called PayPal jail. They just hold your funds until you show that the item was delivered with a tracking number. Then they release that money to you. And that's for the first 3 months, but they might make it shorter if you are continually updating those tracking numbers on time. But Frank's did that already. He's already passed that hurdle. And now he's seeing that PayPal is holding his money again. So what's going on here? Frank, this does happen. It's happened to me twice. Usually it's a good thing because usually it happens when your sales really start to take off. And PayPal is like, whoa, what's going on here? We just want to make sure that you're a legit business. We don't understand why your sales have taken off so fast. Just give them all the paperwork they asked for, call them up on the phone, and don't get off the phone with them until they release the hold in your account. Now, when this hold is in place, you can still sell items on eBay and collect the money in PayPal. You just can't transfer the money out of PayPal during that time. But I got mine cleared up both times in just 1 day by getting on the phone with them and asking them to release it right away. So John says, is it possible to delete an existing DSM store and account and start fresh? Yeah, it is. Just start a new account, connect that one to your eBay store, but you'll have to upload all the items to the new account. And you can download them from the old account and then upload them to the new account. Ivy says, what happens if you don't use the tax table? So what Ivy is speaking about is the tax table on eBay. So the tax table is something that you have to set up yourself, and you're just going to basically put into it how much you want to charge for sales tax from each state. Now, usually it's just going to be for one state, and it's going to be a flat percentage for that state. So you should really only be using this if you're registered to collect sales tax in a state. So for me, that's New York. So I only collect sales tax for New York, and that's what I have on my tax table, is only New York. That tax table then connects to all your eBay listings. So if anyone buys from you, if anyone buys from me and they're from New York, it charges them sales tax. For all the other states, it doesn't charge them sales tax. So that's the way that it works. If you don't use it, you're just not going to charge any of your customers tax. And that's what you want to do if you're not set up to collect sales tax, or you're not set up to collect sales tax in any state. And just remember that you can't fake this information. So if you're not registered in another state, don't collect sales tax in another state. But I will also say that if you are registered to collect sales tax in the state, then you must collect it. It's your legal obligation for that state to collect sales tax for them, and then to send it to the state at the end of the quarter. Okay. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Okay, Mike says, can you please explain how you deal with the taxes for non-exempt states? Do you eat the cost or they charge at purchase? So there's a couple of ways that you can do this, Mike. Mike, one great way to do this is to simply just have your margins at a place so that for the non-tax exempt states, you're at least going to break even for them. And then for the tax exempt states, you'll make money on those. So that's one way you can do it. Another thing you can do is you can charge shipping to those states. So for instance, California, you might want to go into your eBay account and just charge shipping just to California, maybe a small percentage or just enough percentage to cover the sales tax. Okay. Okay, Connie, thank you, Connie, as well. Okay, Jack asked a great question. Paul, for your virtual assistants, they would have your username and password for eBay, and they would have your credit card info to make the purchases for the orders, right? Is that safe to give that information? Not necessarily, Jack. None of my VAs have my credit card information because I give them gift cards to buy things with. So they're making all the purchases with gift cards. That way, I don't ever have to give them my credit card information. So that's a great way around that. And there's also plenty of software that allows you to give your virtual assistant access to your eBay account and to other accounts without actually giving them the password. So it basically allows them to work on your eBay accounts without giving them the password. And that is all explained inside my course, my virtual assistant course, which is linked up in the description of this video. Okay. So Chris says, do you think charging shipping for those states lowers your ranking? I'm not sure, to be honest. That's not the way that I do it. I do it the first way I explained. But I do know that eBay does take a look at not only the price of the item, but the shipping as well. Okay. We also have a question from Denise. Oh, I went over this already. Denise asking if giving assistant catches all cash back. And I mentioned before that they don't always. So this is something you want to keep track of. Write down all your orders and then check them later if that's something that you want to do. Hector Rubio says, hi, when listing, do you set the quantity to 1 or more than 1? Thank you. Hector, this is up to you. I think in the beginning, when you first start selling on eBay, you want to have a quantity of 1. And the reason just for that is because you have a lower listing limit, and each of those listings counts towards your limit. So if you have a limit of 5, a listing limit of 5, for instance, just for simplicity, and your quantity for one of your listings is 5, you're maxed out at that point. If you have a lot more room to breathe, then there's a couple of different thoughts on this. The first is scarcity, right? If your buyer sees, oh, there's only 1 item left, I'm going to buy it now because there's only 1 left. On the other hand, some people might say, I need 5 of these, and no one's selling 5 of these, but this person's selling 5 of them. So I'm going to buy 5 from this person. That's an example. So you might want to think about, okay, does this item traditionally get sold as a pair, as more than 1? I always use the example of side tables. People a lot of times will buy 2 side tables, right? For 1 on either side of their couch. So you might want to have that quantity as 2 as example. Play with it, it's up to you. I don't really change it too much based on the item, just because that is a lot of work to keep track of. And I want my Repricer just to have an automatic number for all my listings. Okay, Jay Goldie asks a great question. Paul, at what point would you recommend someone to move on to the virtual assistant course that I mentioned before? Would it be at a sales price cap or when a person can no longer keep up on their own? I think it's the second. Well, mostly I'll say that at the very least, if you're not able to keep up with your business on your own, you're at a point when you have to hire a virtual assistant. You have to at that point if you want your store to scale and things to go better with your store. I will also say that if you got to the point where you're spending so much time doing the same tasks over and over again, like listing or fulfilling orders, that you're not concentrating on growing your store, that's another important time to hire a virtual assistant. And this is a mindset shift you really have to get through, because when I first started considering hiring a virtual assistant, I was like, I don't know if I want to spend the money on that. I don't know if I want to spend the money on hiring a virtual assistant. And that was the completely wrong mindset to have. It's not a cost, it's an investment. These virtual assistants that you hire, if you train them well, they are going to help you make more money. They're going to help you scale up your store. And there's no way I could have gotten to the level that I have now if I didn't have my team of 9 virtual assistants doing everything that is necessary to help scale the store. That's just a lot of man hours in a week that I literally could not do it on my own. And Mike says, I finally got started in our VA course, started today, great course so far, outstanding purchase, worth it. Okay. Okay, Hitchem, hope I'm saying your name correctly, says, eBay just gave him 500 items to list for free without any insertion fees. But the thing is, they only give you 3 days to list it. Is that crazy? This sometimes happens. eBay runs these promotions saying, hey, for the next 3 days, you can list up to 500 items with no insertion fees. Just go for it. Every time when I first started doing eBay, anytime I got one of those promotions, I worked late into the night getting as many of those listings up as I could, because I wanted to take full advantage of those opportunities. Jump on those opportunities when they come. Even if it's not a lot of money in insertion fees, it was a motivation for me. It pushed me to list more items than I was used to listing, or more items than I was going to list in that day. And it really helped accelerate my store by doing things like that. Okay. And Al is out. Thanks, Al, for coming. And we are at the end of the hour, guys. So thanks so much for coming out for all the questions. I hope you guys found this really informative. If you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. And again, like I said before, if you don't want to miss these live chats, maybe you guys are watching this later and you want to participate in the live chat, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification. That's going to alert you, or should alert you, as soon as my video goes live so that you don't miss it. Sometimes I go live at random times, not just on Tuesday nights. If you don't want to miss those videos, you really got to hit the subscribe. Last week, I went live, made a video, and then deleted it. So only people who were there live got to check out that video. So make sure that you do subscribe and hit that bell if you want to see all the videos that I make. So again, thanks so much. Thanks everyone for coming. Mag, Nelson, Jay Goldie, Kenneth, great to have you guys as always. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good night.